Hello, 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 hello. Thank you so much for joining us today on today's edition of Making Sense of AI. We'll be focusing a lot on prediction in artificial intelligence. If this is the first time you are joining us, thank you so much. Um, we will be giving about 5 minutes so that we'll have others join the meeting before we resume. But thank you so much, Aboma, Bianca, Mary Jane, Chisom. Thank you so much for joining us today. Um, if you were here for the last edition, the one we did last weekend, can you send a reaction? If you were here for the previous edition. Okay. Okay. That is great. I will be starting today off on prediction off the back of what we spoke about last time. Last time we spoke about patterns and data, and we dived into the fact that AI uses and operates based on data it recognizes. Yeah, based on the patterns that it has learned. We talked about patterns and data in artificial intelligence. We told a story of what is his name? Tunde's story. We talked about Tunde and how the pattern through which he was learning his exams or learning for his exams was always leading to him failing over and over and over again. However, the moment Tunde was able to shift his operation, shift his mindset, looked at the pattern that got him to always fail, he was able to identify the challenges that he was having, which now made him eventually pass the exam. So we talked about this in artificial intelligence, how AI understands historic patterns, understands the patterns behind the data behind patterns, and uses it to make informed decisions for you. So those informed decisions that AI eventually makes is what we call prediction. So when AI has looked at patterns, looked at historical data, what does it eventually do for you? It was able to use it to make predictions. And it's in those predictions that it keeps learning. When it makes a prediction and you said, yes, correct, it learns that this is the kind of thing you are looking for. It keeps improving its context. But for today's edition, we'll be talking about Mama Nkechi. Our today's story revolves around Mama Nkechi's life. How does AI's prediction, how do we as human beings behave? Or we created AI, right? AI is artificial intelligence. Human beings have human intelligence. So everything we not do, we do it based off how human beings behave to help us eventually get a deeper understanding of artificial intelligence when we start talking about artificial intelligence. If you're just joining us, welcome. My name is Clinton Mbono. I am the CEO and founder of Lightbulb AI Labs Limited, where we are building AI workflow automation systems for tertiary institutions and personalized learning for students. So welcome. We'll be getting to know each other quite as we proceed. But for now, we Mama Nkechi, who obviously on the screen is getting ready to go to the market, right? Mama Nkechi always gets to the market before everyone else. And when she gets to the market, the first thing she tries to do is to understand and reflect on what the day is going to be about. Mama sits down before everybody around arrives, looks at the market, thinks behind everything that has happened in the past. Things like Mama Nkechi sells tomatoes. it is going to be rainy season, and if rain keeps beating these tomatoes, it is going to spoil. It will spoil faster, and it means I'm going to have to cut my price to be able to sell to customers. Mama Nkechi also knows that during school resumption periods, fresh foods and some of the things that she may be selling might not move quicker than as quickly as rice, beans, and the rest of them would move. She also knows that with the rising fuel and the inflation of naira, customers are going to be more cranky. Customers are going to complain more. If you tell a customer to buy something, the customer will be very quick to walk out of your shop because prices of things are too high. She can't even sell okra because the place she brings okra from, after she has added the transportation and everything, dollar has already climbed to the skyscraper. It's going to affect her price. With all of this information in her head, the market is going to be chaos very soon. So she uses all of this data to make informed decisions on her produce. While others are still in chaos, fighting with her customers, she's at peace. Please, can everybody see my screen? If you can see my screen, send a reaction. Okay. Okay. Great. All right. Thank you. Now, Mama Nkechi, while everybody is still in chaos, she's able to, Mary Jane, if you have a question, you can send it in the chat. Or maybe you are trying to send me a reaction, I understand. But if you have a question, please send it in the chat. Now, she uses that to make informed decision because now she has memory of what has happened. It becomes her advantage. While others are curiously fighting and struggling with their customers, she is able to place prices. That's why sometimes you come to somebody's shop, the price they told you yesterday have changed. That's because they've already done the necessary analysis they need to do. And every of her neighbor is now wondering, how do you do this thing, Mama Nkechi? She says, it is not luck, it is pattern recognition. Her ability to recognize the factors that may lead to the success or the failure of the day's market is what eventually leads to her positioning herself as though she sees the future. But what she does is to recognize familiar patterns. Her customers walk away happy, and she also walks away peacefully. AI also does the same thing. AI can help predict when somebody will be able to pay for their loans. AI will wake up and maybe something you told your friends, something you liked on Instagram, they start presenting you with those things more and more and more often. AI on Google Map can tell you, wow, don't follow this route, there will be traffic. Navigate finding best possible route. AI, just like ChatGPT, can predict the perfect text that is going to come based on something you have typed in, because it is able to recognize the patterns and uses it to make predictive decisions that is eventually validated by you, the audience or the customer or the user. So this is Mama Nkechi. After the day, she has plenty cash. She's smiling. While others are suffering with headache and drinking paracetamol, she's sipping water and counting her own money. So this is the story we have for you today. For the rest of the topic or for the discussion, we are going to be linking everything we've talked about, how Mama Nkechi's behavior or how you on your own, I believe this story has put you in a mind state where you even know better stories of how things eventually come from pattern recognition and prediction in your own life, how data has helped you make informed decisions. We'll be talking about that prediction in artificial intelligence. So 1 second, let me share my screen. All right. Okay. So on today's edition of diving into the main reason why we are here, after hearing Mama Nkechi's story, I want you to also remember Mama Nkechi. Don't forget Mama Nkechi. Have Mama Nkechi in mind. We are going to be talking about the mechanics of AI prediction, because now you've understood how Mama Nkechi, as a human intelligent being, is able to apply prediction in being able to make her sales and come out with profit and even avoid problems. For some of us, you know that once you leave your house at a certain time, you are going to struggle with traffic. So you try to leave early. You predict that there will be traffic in this road, so let me leave early. For AI, we are going to be looking at the mechanism. If I could unscrew your brain and then tell you the mechanism for which you use to arrive at avoiding, even your memory loading to a point where you now say, okay, I'm going to avoid traffic by not following this road if it is past 9 p.m. But for AI, we can dive into that. While we are going into that, you will be able to unmask the myth behind AI and demystify it around whatever you are doing. So we are going to be moving from hype to statistical reality. All right, so for my next slide, okay. Prediction is not foresight. It is pattern matching, right? It is all about matching patterns. It's not fortune telling. It's not guessing. It's not intuition. It is not consciousness or imagination. It is foresight. Pattern matching. Remember our last class, we talked about patterns and data. In AI, prediction has a precise definition, and that definition is the process of estimating an unknown value based on learned patterns from historical data. The process of estimating an unknown value based on learned patterns from historical data. Now we have three things. An unknown value. We are looking for an unknown value. We are looking for the data, the historical data. And then we are looking at the learned patterns. With the historical data, we can arrive at the learned patterns, which will now give us the unknown value we are looking for. No consciousness, no intuition, just past data, patterns, and probability. For most of us that don't like mathematics, the definition I just gave you is what our next slide is going to be showing you. If you've seen my next slide, can you send a reaction? The one that wrote the core functions. Okay, Bianca can see it. Any other person that can see my screen? Great. If you don't like mathematics and they show you this thing in the name of artificial intelligence, you maybe are watching an artificial intelligence movie, actor is shooting, then the mathematician in the movie is just typing, and then they write this thing in the screen. This is the foundation of prediction in AI. Y is the unknown value. F is the learned patterns. No, F is the historical data. YX is your, let's go back to our previous definition. Good. Unknown value, learn patterns, historical data. Unknown value, we are looking for the unknown value. Why? You see? The next one, learn patterns and historical data. The learn pattern of the students. The historical data will give you the CGPA. If, as a student, you are not attending lectures, you are not writing quiz, there is no score for you. The A you are supposed to have, you have E. That is already your historical, that is already your personality. The historical data is that all students, based on the presentation or based on the criteria of your university, once you don't reach a certain mark, you're going to have 1.2 CGPA, or A equals 3. This one equals, those are the historical data. And before the time the school started till now, they have been using those grading systems for grading students. Your GPA will be easily predicted. This is what this formula is about. This is the formula of prediction for AI. AI does not reason about the world. It learns a function that approximates relationship. That's why garbage data leads to garbage predictions. So if you want AI to predict anything for you, at the base, you have to be able to give it data. Remember, the patterns and data it is feeding from should not be garbage. If you want AI to predict for you, let's say in a situation where you want AI to be able to tell you if Bitcoin is going to go up or is going to go down, you need to pack Bitcoin. They have been trading it from the beginning till now. Put it into AI and tell it to try and predict. That's why AI will never tell you absolutely this thing is how you should go. It will always tell you, my suggestion is, because it knows it is a predictive engine. The 3 architectures of prediction in AI, you will hear this if you eventually move into artificial intelligence. You keep hearing the terms as we are growing, as we are pushing into this AI thing. You will hear it one time that regression, classification, and sequence are the 3 architectures of prediction. And you use it every day. For example, many of us have inboxes that if you scroll, you will go to spam, and you see that there are so many spam messages, including the ones that tell you that there is money somewhere that you need to help them to clear. How was your Gmail inbox, Gmail box, how was he able to say this email is spam or fraud, while this one is the one that should go to your inbox? It is a predictive engine that uses classification. It labels things and classifies them. We are going to look into that as we move on. How about regression? The one that is able to predict value, numbers, predict the price of fuel, predict this, predict that. So if you are looking to have an AI that will help tell you when to play bets, the odds that you are supposed to play for those that play bets, or well, don't play bets or play responsibly, or the one that will tell you where Bitcoin is going next, you need a regressional based predictive model, or AI. How about sequence? We use this one every day. Your ChatGPT. It predicts the next word. You tell ChatGPT, no, I want you to change this to be this, that. It starts predicting what you are actually seeking for it to do. So it helps you predict the next word, the next video, the next user action. That's what sequence is about. under the architectures of prediction. So one gives you data, the other one helps you dictate fraud or any kind of labeling you would want it to dictate, or maybe people who are most likely to die of certain kind of diseases, people who are most likely to get certain type of genes and so on. Labeling. Regression, predicting the price of fuel. We cannot mention prediction without mentioning data as many times as possible. Training is the process of optimizing that data. Whenever you hear an AI was trained to do this, an AI was trained to do this, or you see online, China just released the first AI bot that can walk like a model. It was trained on many models that walk a certain way before the robot now knows that they should keep their hand like this. Even human beings do the same thing. It must go through this phase. Initialize, it will predict, it will measure, it will adjust. It uses numbers to do all these things. You give it data, it knows data. Then you try, okay, is this what you want me to do? Then it will measure loss or error, or how much it strayed away from the instruction you give to it. Then it will adjust. That's why as human beings, if somebody tells you to do something for them and then you try to do the same and the person says no, you did not do it well, instead of you to measure and calculate, you'll be angry. You say you're not learning again, they should leave you alone. So, but AI doesn't do like that. AI will measure and rearrange, try as many times as possible. So prediction doesn't start with just prediction, it starts with learning. The system repeats the circle a million times. It processes faster than anything, and it has a lot of context. Whenever you hear artificial intelligence, equate it to collective intelligence, because it has the data of practically every kind of knowledge you can think of. And those data were created by people and put on the internet. So it's collective intelligence. The goal is simple: to minimize error over time. Many of us use ChatGPT in 2022 can attest to the fact that their own personal ChatGPT knows them way more than they even know themselves sometimes. And it will keep growing. It will keep getting insight. So many things so many thought processes that you were not able to, that you just think about and you forget. AI will not forget. It will always have that data. It has measured over the years. It gets to a point and it will keep repeating this process. Every time you ask AI anything, it repeats this process and then it predicts. Now we'll be saying predict, and measure. How does AI measure? What it means by predicting for AI, for your ChatGPT, what the most important thing for ChatGPT or any AI tool is to stay away as far as possible from this hole. This is the error margin. This is called the loss function in mathematics. How machines measure wrongness. It can take this ball anywhere around this place, this 3D image. All it will keep trying to do at every point in time is to stay as far away as possible from this place. The mathematical method of nudging parameters in the direction that reduces error every time. Imagine whenever it's also the same thing that you do when you have a new friend. every time you are nudging yourself away from the margin of error where it may seem you don't know this person as much as you should know them. You can make mistakes. You just keep trying. It's this dance that we do as human beings to continue executing tasks allocated to us. So it's not a thing of awareness or emotional. No, it's just mathematics and moving parameters along. It's not emotional. It is all about numbers for artificial intelligence. AI does not see features like this. That's why for you to be able to use AI as much as possible, you have to be a storyteller. You have to learn how to tell stories. You have to be able to communicate. We call it prompt engineering. So in some quarters, we call it feature engineering. Is one of the most underrated skill in AI for those that don't know. Because better features, better data, better explanations lead to better predictions. It's not just about simply adding more data. No. Look at this thing, this image here. It's an image of somebody who is sitting and is on the table. But when it is encoded, what does AI see? If you want AI you've already looked at the person and you can ascertain that the person is 19. So before AI vision, where you can send pictures, you will need to explain this. AI will even guess this person is between 19 to so and so place. It picks the features. If it's a student, you need to feed it the attendance, number of failed courses, average score. But this is somebody you see passing every time. But if you don't have all the features necessary, prediction for that person is not going to be as easy for you as it should be. When we mention probability, it is all about this long chart. When AI is trying to predict, if he gets information, he gets data of, let's say, somebody who may know all these people that used to borrow money from PalmPay and who paid them, and the AI wants to know who they will tell God will punish you, or don't give this person loan. When he gets your features and gets your profile and gets your payment history and data history, it will now notify the PalmPay people, this person is high risk. Or maybe for that student, after it has gotten the data and everything, it can say, no, this person's dropout rate is going to be low. It's going to be, don't worry. So it doesn't say what happened. It only gives you the chance in percentage. Even the text that is sent to you on chat, it is a percent. That's why every time you keep telling it, do it again, do it again. If you are lazy with AI, trust me, you are going to struggle. Decision making must be built on probability threshold, not just raw predictions. So whenever you tell AI to do something elaborate for you, you should be able to treat that result it gave you as probability. Read it. If it's ChatGPT, read it over and over again. Put your own thoughts to it. Because the more of your thoughts, more of your features, more of your storytelling that goes into it, the better. And you don't have to be the best in English language. For some of us that use AI, you treat AI as though if you speak bad English, it's going to tell you you are crazy. No. Speak in Igbo, write anything you can write, as long as you get whatever you want to get. Before now, last week, we talked about memorization and generalization. The things that makes a good AI and a bad AI. The thing that also makes a good student and a bad student when it comes to exams. if you overfit, which is memorization, if your AI is trying to memorize a certain small set of data, the training data will fail if something new hits it. If you memorize the past question of only 2025 exam and you expect to meet it again in 2026 JAMB, you may fail. But if you are ever going to have artificial intelligence on your side, if you're also ever going to have you're trying to create a predictive model or any kind of models that helps you retain patterns, you have to generalize with the knowledge. Even for yourself, generalize the knowledge you have. The more generalized the knowledge you have is, don't go and limit yourself to only one thing. The more generalized your AI also becomes. A good predictive model remembers patterns, not examples. So for something like ChatGPT, which we call, I'm going to introduce this word for the first time, large language models. Maybe we talked about it last week. However, how does it predict the next word? It is simple as this. Before you see, it's happening in milliseconds. You may not notice. But for every word it adds after a sentence, there are 1,000,001 words that came before it. It just chose the best one to show you on your screen. So when ChatGPT responds to you, it is not thinking, it is predicting the most likely next data based on the token it has been trained on. And for AI, every alphabet is a number. I'm trying so hard not to use a lot of technical terms. So, but if you have any questions, please send it into the chat. So the quick brown fox jumps over the. It will go scour the internet, check for that book wherever it was referenced. All the places it was referenced, all the places something like the quick brown fox jumps over the was referenced. It was, and then find how many times all of them were used. The one that has the highest usage, I'm just using this as an example, and which has the highest probability of being what you require, it will put it here. And it does it for the next word, the next word, it will keep doing it. So when you are hearing AI wars, data centers, they are building data centers everywhere. If you hear all those things, they are building computers that will help AI make this prediction as far. Imagine how many words you churn out of AI every day. It will go through this prediction. That's why it is expensive to run. For each word, it will check everything, go predict, keep predicting, it's not like before where you tell it everything that you want before it can think. This one, it keeps checking. Sometimes it will make mistake, it will correct. That's why data centers are a lot. You hear it a lot. And also, your LLMs do not verify the truth. They predict the linguistic likelihood. For AI, truth always emerges statistically, not logically. For AI, truth emerges statistically, not logically. That is why they will sound confident even when they are wrong. So don't be an AI. If you are wrong, just when they teach you, just learn, just say, yes, I'm wrong. Sometimes AI, if you tell it is wrong, it will tell you yes, that it agrees that it's wrong too as well. So AI is optimizing for the most probable sounding sentence, not the most factual one. So if you are trying to do a research, you are trying to figure out how many people are going to be in a certain place, if there are no people actually conducting the real research on ground, you will always get bogus information. That is why in some topics or in some quarters, when you search online, you will see mostly things not from the places you are looking for, especially in Africa. You have many of them coming from the West, many of them coming from China, but because people are not actually conducting the necessary, or the research being conducted are not being used and publicized as much as they should be done. Coming to the end, 2 more slides to finish. My name is Clinton Mbono. If you don't know me, I am the founder of Lightbulb, an AI startup providing AI-powered workflow systems for tertiary institutions and personalized learning for students. Thank you so much for joining us so far. I hope what we are saying today is making sense. If you have any questions, please send it into the chat box. I really appreciate your time and effort being here today. So as we round up, I will also mention, we've talked about how prediction works for AI, in some places how it fails. We also talked about what AI tries to do with its prediction and how it tries to keeping everything way on the surface of the error margin. It keeps adjusting its parameters to keep you away from, or keep itself away from, making as much mistakes as possible. But there are places where these predictions can fail. AI works in stable systems. When data is stable, when everything is smooth, when you can predict patterns, it works. But if things, for example, there is a pandemic, unless they knows that there will be a pandemic before there is a pandemic, an economic shock, a natural disaster that destroys everybody, or if the future differs from the past, or if human behavior shifts, because our behavior and our thinking is always evolving. So AI is strongest in stable systems and weakest in novel situations. As a leader in any aspect of life, I want you to always remember that AI prediction is not intelligence. It is statistical pattern learning. It all comes from skill, not really understanding. Skill. It has looked at things beyond certain contexts. You have to teach beyond the understanding of the context you are. These distinctions will separate you to become a strategic leader, not from hype merchants, everything you see on Instagram that is happening. No. If you don't know what's happening below, you will be sold by anything, and you will of using the tool. So when you realize this power, it will allow you use AI for the tool it is, to scale what you're already doing, rather than expecting it to be a replacement for humans. Every time people are telling you AI will replace you, you are now hiding. No, use it. Use it as much as you can to scale your thinking. Tap into the data that everybody has put in. If you are running a business, use it to design pictures. If you cannot afford a model, look for AI, send it a picture and tell it to blend it, or your picture to tell it to use you and wear all those clothes that you are selling. Use it to scale whatever you are doing. Don't be afraid of it, because now you know that it's going to predict whether it will look good on. You know the mechanism, so there is nothing to be afraid of. So a recap of what we've talked about today, and we should be done. we defined what prediction was. If you don't take anything away today, take this. In AI, prediction has one precise definition. It is the process of estimating an unknown value based on learned patterns from historical data. Mapping inputs to outputs based on patterns. Mapping inputs to outputs based on patterns. That's prediction. And what is the process? The models or those computers that are supposed to learn, they learn through optimization and looping. If you remember where I said, for some people, when you are trying to optimize yourself, then the person now tells you, you do not do it well 3-4 times, you say you are not doing it again. AI keeps optimizing. It does not get tired. It will keep optimizing and optimizing. That's why some of you, if you send your AI, send me an honest picture of how I treat you with all my work. If you see the picture your AI will generate, you will know that it has been optimizing all its life ever since it met you. For language, the outputs are probabilities, not absolutes. For input, be a storyteller. Tell your AI as much story as possible. Aboma says she can relate to that. Be a storyteller as much as possible. Features, look at how you can be craft your prompts. Don't be afraid of using wrong English. Because now that you have understood this, that is going to predict eventually and it will optimize by force, I hope this removes the fear and clarifies AI tool as a utility tool that you should not be afraid to use. Thank you so much for joining today's class. That is where we are going to be ending it for today. I hope I was able to finish this in time. Thank you for spending this 1 hour with us. Next week, we are going to be looking at computer vision or something along the lines. We are gradually introducing some of these technological terms at the base. Like, the idea for this series is to bring these things as granular as possible to you. Then eventually we'll start looking at the tools, different AI tools that can help you with whatever you are doing. Whether you are a software engineer, a fashion guy, or a fashion lady, a businesswoman, a lawyer, there are AI tools you can build to help you, or you can use to help you in everything you are doing. So thank you so much for joining us today. I look forward to seeing you same time next week. If you have a question, yes, somebody has a question. Great. So my question is, in environments like Nigeria where data infrastructure is poor, for example, records are kept on paper, sometimes misplaced or incomplete, does this affect the reliability and accuracy of AI models built on such data? Can a model be trained on poor, incomplete data and still produce trustworthy predictions? You just answered facts. You just said it all. When I mentioned that, because it is predicting, it is not giving you a logical answer, because your data might be manual. And yes, many data, we are trying, we are digitizing, but there are several quarters in Africa that still run paper-based manual processes, which means the data you are looking for, especially those into research, might be incomplete. It cannot even be, data you got from an AI model should not be relied on for decision making. Unless, that's why they started putting sources, so that you can go to those sources and educate yourself even more and get deeper context. But blindly following these things without doing your own research, without putting in the work necessary, or without even giving it as much context as possible becomes a problem. So yes, we can say that they might not be reliable. They may not be reliable. There are some data you can be looking for in AI. For example, now if you want to search for how many people in Nigeria with okay, Aboma has something to say. How many people in Nigeria that has, let's say, a certain type of illness? You may not see it in AI. You may not even see it for the particular village you are looking for, but you may see related data. So, but those models can be trained if people like me and you take it upon ourselves to look for establishments that may be having a lot of manual data and build solutions that can help them train these large language models to have their data. Many organizations train AI to specialize on whatever they are doing. So I hope I answered your question, as a Chinecherem. You can type it in the comments or in the chat. Okay, Aboma, let me give you access to unmute yourself. One moment. Okay, you can unmute yourself and speak now.
Thank you, Mr. Clinton, for this session. It was really enjoyable. I just wanted to also contribute to the answer you gave to the guy that asked the question. So
Okay.
and you kind of answered it also, but I still just want to impute on it.
Go ahead, please.
Sources,
Yeah.
very, very important. When you're asking some kind of questions, especially for research purposes, it is also very important to cross-check the sources that it shows to you. Because there are some questions you ask ChatGPT or any AI models, and then it says this source. You see something like sources. Yes, it's just telling you that these are the places where you can also go and cross-check what the information it has already provided to you. And you're also going to see a message pending or saying something like AI can make mistake. This model can make mistake. Verify, cross-check. So that's why you say when you're doing some in-depth researches, it is also very important to cross-check the sources where these things come from. That's what I wanted to contribute. And right now, it's also vastly correct because like Mr. Clinton says, a lot of organizations are training their models, doing a lot of researches and contributing so that where it gets these informations and predictions are also, correct. So that's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Well done. Well done. Your question. Does anybody have any other questions or any contributions? Any further contributions? All right. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful session. We'll be sending the link later on to those that couldn't attend. Have a blessed weekend. Enjoy and do find time to rest. Bye.